Daisy's getting those good pets. Those are right in front of the ear pets. Seems like it's taken me an awfully long time to connect to chat lately. Particularly intolerable violation of the census. It must be because of yesterday's stream. That's how it's now targeting its ads. It's like, alright, everybody watching Zeor TV likes bright and noisy crap. Teaser. Aww. This is more time than she usually spends on my lap. She's really grooving on the pets right now. Ugh. That sounds pretty intolerable, yeah. I like the let's pick out a quasi-popular and sexy-ish male and female streamer to eat cheeseburgers. That's a good ad. We'll pay them a little extra if they do a stupid little dance while they eat, to pretend they're enjoying. God, I'm cynical. I'm sorry, capitalism has simply killed all of the joy out of my heart. Okay, a lot of things did that. But mostly the capitalism. That's why Daisy is here, she's doing damage control. She's like, it's not like everything is bad, only most things. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. She's a good kitty. She said that. I actually had a dream I really didn't want last night. That puts me in the perfect place to stream some Disco Elysium. It's downright prophetic is what it is. Oh, Miss Deezer. Hang on a sec here. lifting a headphone to... For a second it sounded like my computer was noisier than usual, but it might just be me having a stroke. Anyway, I don't remember precisely where I left off last time, but... Okay, there goes Cat. Bye, Daisy. Cat time is over. Only sadness now. But I shouldn't have too hard of a time remembering. We must have just been talking to Joyce. Through Joyce, we learned a lot more about the identity of our victim, the Wild Pines Company, against whom, the Union, I guess, is striking. Hired a few guys from a security contractor of some sort called Grinnell. They sent 3 guys. And one of them got himself murdered. And purportedly, all of the Hardy Boys are confessing to the crime as a collective. Which is a tactic sometimes used by people to what's the word I'm looking for? Dilute responsibilities so that a single arrest cannot be made. Have I checked these guys yet? I think I did earlier in the day, and I thought I was going to try again afternoon. We're still waiting to hear more about the make of the boots that we found on the guy. The victim, that is.
This is Precinct 57. How may I... Still no word, I'm afraid, sir. I know it must be frustrating. Was there anything else you wanted to ask?
Nope.
57's over and out.
Just calling to see if you knew anything about the Stinky Foots. She doesn't. Is this day 3? It is day 3. I don't think I've paid for my room yet. I only have 5.15 monies. So that could be an issue. Alright, let me check. Yeah, confront the Hardy Boys about the drug trade. I don't know if there's a good reason to do that, really. Get 2 signatures for Everard. Ugh. This is a bad job. Sorry Cop still has a healthy lead. It is twice... it has twice the score of the next runner-up, Apocalypse Cop. Apparently I answered fascistly to something. I'm almost tied between ultra-liberal and communist. Moralist is ahead by 1. It's not necessarily that all of my beliefs are neutral so much as I don't necessarily like to, slap everybody upside the face with my beliefs as if they give some sort of shit. Hi, Tama. So, I know I should probably just go over and talk to the Hardy Boys. I'm going to need to be able to assert authority before I do that, and I think I have penalties to that. So... Memo to self, don't forget to change out of your late Ninja Turtle underpants before you confront the Hardy Boys. We found my car last time, it's over there, it's underwater. My badge was in it. It says I'm a Lieutenant W. Freighter, which means I declined promotion from Lieutenant twice. Actually means Harry outranks Kim by a couple of ranks. Kind of. Not really a couple of ranks, a couple of sub-ranks, I guess. So, I'm sure Kim wouldn't approve of this use of time, but instead of going straight to the Hardy Boys, I think I'm gonna come over here. Explore around a little bit. I do have a job to do forever, I guess. Boaty. Outranked by theoretical ranks, sure. Yeah, tear. Got it. Thomas says this begs the question of what the hell happened to Harry in the last, 4 months. It does indeed, doesn't it? We already have some idea. It has been right around 4 months that he took a... This is the 3rd time in 2 streams that I've used this word, precipitous dive. A lot of times, the word meteoric is used to indicate something that's rising rapidly, which I think is weird because meteors are generally a falling thing. Notice that? Postcard. It's like a Donkey Kong Country postcard. A forest of smokestacks releasing fat plumes of smoke in a blue, cloudless sky. Written on the back is a single sentence repeated twice. I got out, no addressee. Typeface says, I figured the word meteoric was more about the impact. That makes sense. A bow knot. It's nice. No, you know what? Cannot wear. I'm going full necktie on this run. I cannot remove horrific necktie. It would ruin me. It would ruin the tie. It wouldn't be right. I couldn't do that to my best friend, the necktie. This place is kind of spooky. Mm-hmm. You can really see all the brush strokes in the art here, can't you? I don't think I ever really paid attention to that before. I wonder if there is a necktie % achievement. I'm gonna find out. I'm not taking this necktie off. I don't care what else I find. I don't care how horrific the tie is. So there are people living around here, but eee. Pants! Intra-isolary trousers add to the Kingdom of Conscience thought. I have that, don't I? I do indeed. So I guess that would heal 2 morale from answering non-committally to things? That's interesting. What do I get for my current pants? Composure. Moralist pants! They're absolutely unremarkable. In other words, perfect. Yeah, to get the necktie down is a it's a motorics check. It's a savoir-faire check, I think, as compared to a Inland Empire one. God ass. I'm gonna keep wearing my black jeans for right now. Actually, you know what? Who knows? Other dialogue might open up if I wear my dumb, boring moralist pants. These are some wonderfully regular pants. Not too tight, not too loose, moderate in every sense. You'll blend right in at some pleasant dinner party. I like regular normal things. Kind of. I know you do. These inter-isolary pants are like wearing a perfect compromise in your nether regions. No one will call the moral lantern on you like this, that's for sure. You're a little more moralist now, buddy. A little more normal, even if you didn't want to be. But this was a terrible idea. Why did I wear these stupid pants? Why did I wear any pants? I think pants were a mistake. I don't remember this. The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
Oh, I guess it's just the same as the other bench. If Kim's not with you, you can kill time on it. Bushes are too thick and thorny to pass through. Man, the music here, it's so much good, just ambient, vaguely sad, just relaxing music in this game. Quick travel unlocked. How long has that been a thing? That must be a new feature. Yeah, no kidding. That's pretty nice. Some monies. Yeah, I also need monies. Probably. Drugs and monies. It's gonna be the name of my upcoming hit music video, Drugs and Monies. Hello, I am the police. It's me, the cop. The woman next to a bucket of clothes hums an odd melody. Her eyes are closed.
Welcome to the fishing village. Please lean in closer. I have cataracts.
Lean forward.
Oh, welcome, police officer. We don't cause any trouble around here. And we don't want any trouble either.
We are not here to cause any trouble, madame.
Rebel! Say the second thing, brat, and shows you got style. I don't know how that word is actually supposed to be pronounced. I don't know, horrific necktie. That sounds like a bad idea. There we go again, being some kind of boring moralist. Not right here. This is in poor taste. What he said, we're cops. We don't cause trouble. We take care of trouble.
Oh, of course. Last time we saw you around here was 12 years ago. You also came to take care of trouble then. Wish you did. But still, in Martinez, you're considered an ill omen.
Wait, I've been here before?
No, not you personally. I meant the RCM. Some of the men got into a fight. One of them killed another, locked himself in that woodshed over there. He was brooding, needed some help opening the door. You got it open for him and took him to think about what he'd done in a more secluded place, somewhere more quiet.
She says it as if he was on some kind of spiritual retreat. What kind of ill omen are we talking about?
Oh, the usual. Dark tidings. Black hound.
That's you, all right. A black hound licking your own heels. Yeah, I'm gonna go for this one. This lady sucks. I'm totally an ill omen. That's exactly what I've been telling everyone. The end is here.
You're not. No one around here considers us an ill omen. People would have told us.
Maybe they are afraid.
Why?
Because you're an ill omen. But you're still welcome here. As long as men with guns aren't chasing you. And maybe even then. Because that's the kind of fishing village we've built. I'm sorry there's not a lot of room to park the motor carriage. And not a lot of houses. Or a lot of people. My kids are long gone. Searching for treasure. So are others. Ah, look at me ramble on.
You really were doing some
What
rambling there.
brings you to us?
So, what is in this fishing village?
Just us. It's barely a village anymore. We almost don't exist.
Well, what do you mean?
This is pretty much a non-place. A gap. A blank spot on the map. Just a cluster of nameless shacks on a nameless street.
The place is so pornographically poor, it's not even funny. I'm gonna say this place is pornographically poor.
The lack of wealth is the one thing we've got in abundance.
Riddles. Fits with the general ambiance here.
Aye. Sometimes it's as though I'm also gotten lost inside this nameless nothing.
Yeah, I'm lost too.
Oh, it seems to be a common theme these days.
I think I'm in the process of finding myself again.
Isn't that what people always think when they are lost?
Shut up, lady.
Something I can do for you to find your way, officer?
Who else lives in this village?
Well, there's Lillian and her kids. A few new folks live in the house to the east. But they are away right now.
Huh?
And then there's the drunks. Not a pretty sight, but there's little we can do about it. Home is home, even for them.
Ooh, what drunks?
Sooner or later, you'll see for yourself. Don't have to look long to find these guys.
There's another topic I'd like to address. What's further down the coast?
Not much. There's the abandoned church, the DeLorean Church of Humanity. It's been there since before my time, even.
Why is it abandoned?
Some things just don't fly, officer. Look around. Who'd go to church here? They built it 300 years ago. Must have been nicer then.
So, they don't hold services there anymore? The Ecclesiastes?
No, we've tried, but things just keep happening. Crime, accidents, other things. The place never stays open. It's a pity. It used to be such a nice church.
She's not telling you all she knows. Keep her talking. I get the feeling you're leaving stuff out. What else is going on?
Well, there's that music. Music from across the sea. Huh. It started a few days ago, and now it's blasting even through the night. And now, suspicious-looking people are sneaking around the church. I don't like that.
Perhaps the mysterious music is somehow connected to the case. Rusalka or half Tamarnica Spara is singing. What else is on down coast?
Before you get to the church, there's some ruins, an apartment complex, or some kind of electrical plant. Run-down bunch of houses, empty.
Anything else of note?
Of note, the old fish market up on the boardwalk, but it's closed.
That's it. There's gotta be more along the coast.
What? You're one of those real estate people with big plans? If you want a development opportunity, you can check out the abandoned building over at Land's End.
I feel like some voice actors in this game are getting away with really weird inflections by passing them off as part of their accents.
Used to be a supply depot, we think, sending goods and ammo across the bay. It's jammed shut though. We tried to get in, see if there was anything to sell or scavenge, but it's impossible. And now you know everything there is to know about this coast.
Tell me about yourself. Who exactly are you here?
Me? No one. Just an old washerwoman. Mother called me Isabel, if that's what you're asking. And my married name is Sadie. Now it's your turn, Mr.
You can call me Tequila Sunset.
Why would I do that? That's a fool's name. Are you a fool? Don't ridicule yourself before an old woman, officer. It's undignified.
I was asked to get your signature.
Eh? What's this about? Come now, I can't read all this scribble. Tell me what it says.
Everard wants to turn part of the village into a little youth center.
Huh. I might be half blind, but it looks like part of the village is gonna be a street. The best part. The part we need to get out of our houses. Have you asked Lillian about this? I won't even consider signing till I know she's on board.
Hey, where can I find her?
She's right over there. The dark-haired woman, leaning over the railing.
I'll go ask her first then.
Yes, you do that. Can't let fat Mr. Clare down now, can you?
Goodbye, I'm off. Crappy old lady. She sucks. Bunnies. I'm gonna take a quick BRB because I think I need to visit the restroom. Should probably have taken care of that before the stream. Stand by. Appreciate you being here. I'm back. So right, as I'm thinking of it on the last episode, we got a little bit more information about the lady driver, the 8th person who was at the scene. She's not with the other Hardy Boys. And the other 2 guys from that military contractor are conducting their own tribunal into this case, and they will probably kill whoever they they will definitely kill whoever they feel is responsible for it. So we're under pressure to find somebody, like an actual suspect, to name for the crime. Because if we don't, bad shit's gonna go down. Fishies. I do always like the coast, you know?
Hi, officer.
I like her too, she's neat. A woman in a raincoat stands on the... I guess that's just pronounced quay? Quay? Considering an overturned boat, a sword and a scabbard hangs from her hip.
Anything I can help you with?
That depends. Where are we exactly?
A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium.
Alright, 2 people are correcting me. It's in fact pronounced key. I was actually wondering if that was the case. But I thought I'd heard it pronounced the other way elsewhere. I must have been wrong. Elysium.
The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place.
I have questions. The first is, what's your name?
The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions. And that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps break the ice. Nice sword. Does it come with a story?
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly.
Hold on, do you know how to use it?
Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot.
It is imposing.
It's a regular mass-produced sword, like a shovel or an axe. Nothing fancy, just for intimidation.
So why do you need intimidation tactics?
From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time.
So where are all the men now? Tell me they're dead.
Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying.
Where's your husband now?
Gone.
Gone where?
To the waves. The sea took him. It was a long time ago.
Say no more. Oh.
He didn't respect the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day the boat was found floating empty. The bloated corpse turned up 2 weeks later. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles.
I shit on death. No. Time really is the best cure for sorrow, isn't it?
Us working folk don't have the luxury to be bedsick with melancholy. I buried him, mourned for an appropriate amount of time, and went on. Life didn't really change that much for me and the kids.
This is neither a touchy nor a very interesting topic for her. She looks like she's ready to go on date with another, better drunk. Ask her. Both of you could use some action. Do it! Hit on the widow. It's the right thing to do. What the hell's wrong with you, Necktie? Don't agree with electrochemistry. That dude's fucked. So what do you do around here?
Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff.
Is that enough to make a living?
Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now. Interesting. What have you found?
Wood, pieces of glass, Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once.
Now, what's wrong with me? When she, like, started reading that list, my mind just, like, put on a little slideshow. Like a grimacing, bloated human corpse, and then, like, a zebra. And then...
Bottled drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
Alright, major choice moment. You only get to ask her one thing. It'd be weird to say them all. Choose wisely. A mine. The RCM could use a mine. Where is it?
Well, the RCM has to wait for another one, because some army folks came by, took it in the middle of the bay and blew it up.
Aw.
The blast was surprisingly timid for such a huge spiky thing.
So you could actually, like, look for, like, a romantic place to meet up with this lady. Also, maybe don't ask her with Kim around, because that's weird. So, I'm looking for someone. Maybe you can help?
Let's see. Who are you looking for?
Right, we can also try to look for Lena's husband while we're over here. We're looking for missing cryptozoologists?
I don't think I know what these are. Care to elaborate?
People who look for animals that mainstream scientists deny exist.
Aha! Like snowmen.
Snowmen? I haven't heard about those.
Two old guys have been wandering around here. Nose in sand, talking nonsense about snowmen and the like.
Where do they go?
I don't really know. Further down the peninsula, I guess. I mean, that's where they were heading. Who else are you looking for besides snowmen?
That's it. Not looking for anyone else right now.
Well, how can I assist you then, officer?
So I take it that's your skiff?
Sure is. The Sun, I call her. Coated with a fresh layer of tar just yesterday. It'll take some time for it to dry, assuming the sunny days continue.
I was asked to get your signature.
Are you? This says by signing, I agree to living with construction noise. What exactly is the Union building?
Everard's planning to turn some of the village into a youth center.
What a nice idea. Wouldn't have thought that
Not what exactly?
Everard and the Union have nice plans for anything. I thought they only cared about themselves. Well, I guess Union members have children too.
Everard is helping me found a youth center. Here, use my pen.
He has a pen and everything.
Takes it from you, a doubtful look in her eyes, clicks it and places the tip on the paper.
Here you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ugh, what a morally ambiguous thing I'm doing here. Well, I've got the one signature, so maybe I can get the other lady to sign too. By the way, hi Ellie. Hi everyone. How is everyone tonight? Ooh. I got Lillian's signature. Will you sign the papers now?
Lillian should let her sword make her decisions. The girl just doesn't have the head for it. Either way, I won't sign.
So it was a test, or?
Lillian's not the only one who's too thirsty.
What do you have against the Union?
I've seen it all before. You think they've got our interests at heart?
Hell no.
Rich men are always selling poor men promises they never planned to keep. Then the poor get pushed out of their homes, and the rich get a little richer. That's the way it goes.
Shit.
So no, I don't trust the fat man, and neither should you.
Man, that must be an enormous suggestion check. Because I'm almost sure I have very good suggestion skill. Oh, it's only 4? No kidding. Alright, I could fix this. There's no way I don't have suggestion clothes. Yeah, here we go. Well, what if Blue Cop asked you? Am I wearing something that gives me a suggestion penalty? Might. Yeah, the white satin shirt. Replace it with a different white shirt. This is how police work works, by the way. Once in a while, you have to stop and turn around and change all of your clothes.
The policeman.
Oof.
What can our village do for you?
It's really in her best interest to listen to you. You know how the world works. Jesus. Isabel, you must understand this place needs that construction project, I guess.
I've heard that pitch before plenty. Building this, building that, new jobs, new blood. Somehow the people here always end up holding the short end of the stick.
You gotta be smart, read the fine print, think ahead, look for opportunities.
And what do you think I'm doing right now, Mr. RCM?
Soap.
Do you know who takes the cream of these deals? Real estate developers, construction companies, restaurant owners, Claire's accountants in La Delta. Have some integrity. You're an officer of the law, not some fat slug's corrupt little crony.
Ow. It's okay. She's emotional right now. Keep at it. Wear her out.
Stay.
Oops.
Most people here are trying to leave.
Alright, well, two things happened. One, okay, there we go. I fixed the other thing. That was an accidental press at the spacebar. This thing's gotten a little flaky.
That said, if lodgings is what you're looking for, I've got a free room in the shack.
How much is it?
I won't charge you for it. Take it as a gesture of goodwill from the village to the RCM.
Wait, hold on, you're just giving it to me?
No one is using it, and God knows it's not much anyway. You can stay there.
Accidentally press the spacebar, find a new place to stay for the night. There's this guy, Gart, who makes me give him money every night just so I don't die out in the cold.
That's exactly how they get ya. That's why we built our own cinder block houses on the seaside. So we don't have to give money to those crooks. We might not look like much, but they are ours.
Why isn't anyone using the room?
My kids grew up and left like they do. The house is long empty now. I live in the small side attachment. It's easier and cheaper to keep warm.
You got yourself a tenant.
Don't make an old woman regret opening her house to the police.
Well, if you are not in the hostel in the morning, I'll know where to find you. Here, in a shack.
He's a little relieved you're no longer in that room. Should he? This environment encourages one thing and one thing only, drinking. Finally, you have those lamos and lamos and martinets off your back, Bratton. This looks like the place to bring chicks. Damn. Maybe some financial compensation would change your mind.
Cops bribing citizens. Doesn't it usually go the other way around? Save your breath, officer. This deal isn't going anywhere. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got this whole bucket full of rags to finish. That's my job. Maybe you should do yours?
We really should focus on some actual leads. Negotiating real estate deals isn't our main thing.
You know, there could be another way. You'll need to go someplace private and discreet, though, like your shack. There's even a drawing of the house right there on the house. The door has seen better days. The layer of paint has started to peel off due to the salt and wind from the sea. Even the lock looks slightly rusted.
I'll wait outside to give you some time and privacy to check out your new living arrangements. But just so you know, after we are done with the day, I'll still be staying in the whirling in rags for the night. We'll meet in front of the shack in the morning.
Another one of those things that for some reason I'm a little bit surprised that Kim is so alright with, but I suppose this is fairly innocuous as far as Harry's behavior goes. This is a place to stay for the night. I mean, that's good. I don't have to pay 20 real for it. Again with music in this game. See the church from here. This is another mirror I can use to try to decipher the expression, which is now gone. Whoa! This jacket is new. I'm pretty sure, anyway. It must be new because apparently it doesn't exist in the inventory. That is terrible. I'm gonna wear the blue coat. Nah, I know what, I'm gonna put the patrol cloak back on. Alright, so I have an invisible Korojev jacket. Maybe the best and worst things about the jacket are that it is invisible. There's something else of note in here, but I don't seem to have the skills to check for it. On the table you see a bowl of water, a rough soap, and next to it a small hand mirror. A straight razor soaks inside the wash basin. Is shaving the right call? The water reflects back a vague image of your face. Nose bulbous and red, hair unkempt, wrinkles lining the eyes and forehead. The stash is gigantic. I don't think I'm gonna shave. I feel like that would be mistakes. Might as well keep the chops. I've already lost the expression. I'm just getting less handsome by the day. Just like the real me. Maybe, I don't know. The scruffy-haired little boy kicks a stone. He can't be more than 5 years old. The other one looks indistinguishable from him. He watches his brother kick the stone with his tongue lolling out of his mouth. You guys look identical. The stone-kicking one becomes frantic all of a sudden, as if that's something to be scared of, the obvious fact that you just stated.
He looks just like me.
Yeah, I said that. The boy doesn't answer. His brother throws another rock. Both of their hair is covered in some kind of dirt.
You're bad with kids.
I am, yes.
Don't worry, everyone is. How about we do some police work now? We're not getting anything here.
Bye, kids. Take care. No, Kim, tell me what you really mean. I leveled up, I guess? What do I do with this? I still wanted... Yeah, alright, I gotta internalize Apocalypse Cop. Like, I've kind of known about Apocalypse Cop in previous games, but I've never leaned very hard into it, so this will be an interesting experience for me. Cop-pocalypse now, get out of here. Punch it. Maybe a copolypse? No, that's... God, oh, why did I think that? That's terrible. Well, TechMain thought it too. Alright, it's not just me. We're both the worst. Bird. Bird. Not true. Oh, I guess I've taken the bird. I was gonna say, like, I don't know if I should take the bird. I had the bird now. It's a beautiful bird.
Hello, mister.
Is that art new? Not sure. The young girl, barely 4 or 5 years old, sits on the sofa. She's looking at you with frank curiosity. She clutches a small stuffed animal. Occasionally she twirls it around. Are you Lily-Ed's daughter?
Yes, I am. Little Lily. You know my mom?
Yeah, we met earlier.
That's nice. My mum is great. She's never angry or anything.
Are the twins outside your brothers?
Yes. They don't want to play with me. They're older and play outside. They look the same. Sometimes I can't tell them apart.
They look identical, right? I said the same thing.
They look identical.
So, what's this?
It's a grouse.
You might be able to get on Gart's good side if you replace the broken skewer you almost certainly broke. Can I have it? I know someone who really likes stuffed birds.
Sure. I mean, you already took it. I don't like it anyway. It looks angry.
What's that thing you're holding?
It's Lammy. He's my friend. Sort of. Like...
Lambie is a stuffed lamb that admittedly has seen better days. One of the eye buttons is missing, and the fur is tattered in several parts. Okay, pleased to meet you, Lambie.
Lammy usually doesn't like strangers. But you're also fuzzy, like Lammy.
Well, see, there you go. Obviously not shaving was the right move. Goodbye.
Bye!
Walk into a house, get a bird. Things are just falling into my lap here. New home, new bird, new police badge. Speaking of which, we know what happened to the gun. Purportedly, Everard's goons are indeed still looking for it, but apparently we pawned the gun the night before the game started. To somebody who identified herself as a pig. Looking back at you from the rust-colored water, you. Hi, me. Yeah, Mr. Everard is helping me find my gun. It's true. What you've heard is true. Mazut. The rear tire of a motor carriage. Hopefully not mine. Nah, mine had both of its wheels. Back wheels on, at least. I'd say that much for it. I mean, I should give myself some credit. It must have been completely awesome when it happened. I don't know this part of the world so well. It's a little hard to navigate around here. Yeah, this is a dead end. This is a fun little detail. A little black swallow with circles above you. Just, it has no bearing on anything, but that's where you are. Let's see if we can find Lena's husband. And then we'll have a whole bunch of good news to bring back to the Whirling in Rags before we get into another argument with the Hardy Boys. And another quick travel. Yeah, that's a new feature for this edition of the game. That's pretty nice. A kick drum pulse. The music is coming from somewhere on the ice. Monies. Stuff. Full of holes. Could the posts inside hide treasure? Could the posts hide treasure inside of them? Monies. Ooze. Monies. Monies. Wow, so much treasure in the posts. Get monies. Oh, you know what? I need to go buy that boombox. Alright, don't let me forget that. That's another item of business to take when we're walking back the other way. Here's the church. Purportedly what used to be nice. Dusty pews in the shadows. Many seem to be missing. St. Bruden, 1147. Never remember what year this is. Something 50 something. XX5X. $54 sounds right. Heavy wooden doors more than twice your height stand shut in front of you. The rectangular sea-worn ornamentation appears to be in stark contrast to the padlock carelessly drilled into the wood. Nothing happens, only the sound of the padlock rattling against the door.
It's going to work.
The carving on the door is block-like and angular, like the church itself. Two large beams shoot downwards, sinking into the wood before they reach the threshold. Run your hand over the door is something I can't do. I got some bad splinters as a kid. I am really funny about old woodwork. I don't want to touch it any more than I have to. This cheap-looking padlock is sturdily built. It shackles together a hasp and a staple screwed into the wooden door. The lock is adorned with a yellow sticker. You see a yellow circle with two X's and a big curve below them that looks like a mouth. You're pretty sure you haven't seen it before, but what the symbol depicts is clear enough. A smiling dead guy. Curve makes it smile and the X's make it dead. There is something blindingly modern about this symbol. Its modernness puts to shame everything you've seen before. What makes it so modern, conceptualization? It's the contrast between the cheery chemical yellow and the rigor mortis, as if the cheery guy didn't know he was dead or the dead guy didn't care that he was. Either way, you get the sense the forces of the future are at work here. These forces of future have chosen to depict something that reminds you of you. Have you seen this symbol before? Takes off his glasses and uses a blue handkerchief to thoroughly wipe them clean before inspecting the sticker. Then he looks up, pauses, and replies,
No.
What does it look like to you?
Looks like a dead man smiling. Suggests junior delinquency.
What is suggestive of junior delinquency here?
I haven't seen that sticker before, and I'm not a youth.
Tama. I agree, it's very modern, but does the cheery guy not know he's dead? Or does the dead guy not care that he is? What's the source of the irony here?
That level of conceptual thinking is not part of my skill set.
Damn. Can I have that handkerchief? My hands are wet. The lieutenant hands you a blue handkerchief. He looks a little dismayed when he gets it back crumpled. It should be easier to peel the sticker off now. There's nothing like the sound of a sticker unpeeling. Now it's stuck to your thumb. Put the sticker on the ledger. Voila! Looks very modern. Style your paperwork complete. So what's going on with this staple? Padlock passes through a staple that's been hastily attached to the wood. Closer inspection reveals that one of the screws is not a screw at all, but a nail. The work has been done recently and is unprofessional to say the least. Should you want to get through, it might be easier to just pry the whole thing off. This is where Mr. Prybar comes in handy.
Maybe we should circle the building first and look for another way. The building has seen enough mistreatment.
There is a touch of guilt in his voice. Should we start with that kick drum coming from the ice? I heard a sound before.
Yes, the pulsing bass. A sure sign of junior delinquency. Somewhere east of here.
Everything is junior delinquency around here. I was wondering if that sticker was gonna change the form of the fear of the ledger of loathing and hatred, or whatever it's called. Ken's has been talking about that he found another evolution of it. I don't particularly care that much, but... A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone unless you're out of change. Telephone. Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this? End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre? Is that you, Pierre?
I might be. What's Pierre like?
So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died.
That's not good.
Are you sure you're Pierre? Your different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not. That's interesting. I don't know what I just did or why. Ah, here it is. Buzz hum. The electricity flows through the wires with audible power. Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad. The cloth, if you can still call it that, makes a soft crunching sound as you thrust your finger into it. It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests there might be a jacket underneath a crust of filth. It seems likely that it was left in the surf until someone laid it out on this fence to dry it out. Unfortunately, that just seems to have stiffened it into a shapeless mass.
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
Why not?
It's a guano-encrusted jacket, and you're already carrying around enough as it is.
Nope. Stinky. It's so gross. As you hold it in your hands, it makes an uncomfortable crunching sound. How did this jacket get so disgusting? It's a sordid, filthy tale not for the weak. Are you sure you can stomach it? Yes. It occurs to you that you're not even holding the jacket itself, but rather the thick crust of jetsam and seagull shit that ensconces it. It smells like a dead sea creature tangled in gray strands of seaweed. Must have spent quite some time in the water before the tide deposited it ashore. Gross. Why did you think about it? Look at your hands, they're covered in muck. Ew, 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 ew. I'm just flicking this shit everywhere. This is a disaster. You'll never get the smell out. Kim, why did you let me pick up this jacket? You're a terrible partner. Why'd you go that way? Yeah, tear. Vagrants have recently painted the tarp red. Water drips from it. Oh, wow. Mega Beano's prescription lenses. +2 encyclopedia, -1 perception? Actually, that makes sense. Coin-operated weighing machine. Alright. Crowbarb? Crowbarb. Harry wants to get his crowbarb. Money everywhere. Drugs and monies. Not really accomplishing much. It's good exploring, though. Big wine canister, open and empty. That smell. It's awful and familiar. Hold on, that is awful. Doesn't help, you can still smell it. What is it? Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency, that faintly cloying sweetness, only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death, it must be. Heads up, Lieutenant, something's not right here. The Lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose. I wonder how this guy is feeling. There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tulula vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you can find. No, there's more in here. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up, they seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revishal. It's no older than a day or two, no mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief. Well, we found ourselves a dead guy. A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. The smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on.
The lieutenant squats next to the corpse and examines his face. 2 bulging eyes stare back at him, void of any signs of life.
Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now, carefully. Just another day, another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded in 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. Bad fall. Might have been dark outside. This place is a minefield in the dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him, drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, about 170 to 175 centimeters, curly hair, stout build, age 50 or 60. He was confused when he died, confused and alone most likely, overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last. That's what the chewing gum seems to point to as well. There's some dried blood on the metal bench right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clenched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair of the back of his head, an open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop when he was unconscious. Took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
No, just the back of his head.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
The floorboards screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was what caused the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below as something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole and you never would have found him. A .75 liter Tulula vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly any left inside.
Tear all around us. I'd prefer if you didn't collect them this time. It's not proper.
Yeah, I guess. Rubowski Spearmint Chewing Gum. Green leaves on the cover. This man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. Blackness of death, stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed, nearly the whole pack is in there, solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario, even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
In a ditch off a road below the 881, he thinks, a young father. Then he shakes his head to make the memory stop. Who is this man?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here.
I mean, we did.
But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
This is an omen, a sign from above. Don't start drinking again. Looks like me. I could have ended up just like him, dead on some empty boardwalk with a bottle next to my corpse.
Well, at least you're not married.
Lieutenant points at the ring on the man's left hand, the flesh around it swollen and gray. What if you are?
But let's try to not run ahead. For now, all we know is that he's an unidentified middle-aged man on the Martinez boardwalk.
What do you think happened here, as if we don't know?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Right.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
So what do we do with him?
From where I stand, I can see two options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
What about the field autopsy?
A field autopsy isn't necessary if the cause of death doesn't appear to be criminal, and this looks like a simple accident to me. I'd say we should just write down head trauma in the autopsy report and leave it at that. It would save us at least 2 hours of unnecessary work.
Yeah, you're right. I don't see anything criminal here. Let's leave it at that.
Good call. The guys at processing can take care of the rest.
You know, we found him. We should finish this.
All right. We should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from Mikey and Emma. Let them know we are taking the case.
I actually wonder if that is what happens, Tama. I don't think those guys hang around there for very long. Like wondering if choosing not to take the case defers it to the other may or may not be police officers we ran into earlier. The library card is folded in two and still slightly wet to the touch. The front line reads, Central Jamrock Public Library card issued to Billy Magine, expires July 53. Billy is a unisex name, could be the deceased or a family member. Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil, radio thriller, Stand a Little Less Between Me and the Sun. The last one in the list is The Glinting Curve by M. Thibault. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre, some thrillers too. If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 00502552211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78 Jamrock.
Good. We should give them a call from Mikey and Emma. See if we can learn anything about Billy Méjean.
Méjean. Thanks, Kim. I don't know how to pronounce things around here. It's all very confusing. I, as a police officer, have a small squad of satellite officers who coach me in how to translate the French stuff. Even though France isn't real. Yeah, here we go. Just gonna say we haven't found the guys we're looking for, but there's still a little bit more beach. Alright, here we go. We're gonna Batman it. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Nani? Monies! The magic money rock. Just like Animal Crossing. Chain trails off into the ocean. An old door worn by elements guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. What is this thing anyway?
It's military. A service depot of some sort.
Used to service what?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
Mysterious door. That's the kind of thing where you would actually, like, you might not think of, like, the strong guy as an interesting build to play this game with, but I sort of want to sometime. Because there are quite a few things, actually, that you could probably pull off. If you just have brute force to make stuff happen. I found a third flavor of plain white shirt. Whose idiotic idea were square and beige plastic frames anyway? Beige is a color that does not look good on anyone. Not to mention that seeing the world through these exceedingly thick lenses feels almost nauseating. Don't say any of that to Kim. Yeah, I would hang around at a spot like this. This is good explore. Cigarette butts cleaned away under a rock. Brand two. Someone made a campfire here a long time ago. Rusted, broken control box for the radio relay tower. This ladder is too rusty to climb. The sea air is eating away at it. The relay tower coordinates boat traffic in the bay. Barely. Coward. Scented scarf. Cannot wear it because it would displace the necktie, which is impossible. This is so chill right here. The music here, this environment, it's all just very nice. Tiumutiri. Brand name of cigarettes. Kim has like this professional running stance. I just have my ledger in one hand and my yellow plastic bum bag in the other. So there is another way around it. Okay, you can get through here. Kinda didn't look like you could. Yeah, I don't know where those guys are. Must have passed by him or something. Maybe they're way out there. No, it was just way out there. Must have taken a lot of patience to do this. Rocks. Painted with pastels, someone's trying to bring cheer into the world. Tribalistic markings. The painting if you turn out has been planted into the snow. 2 poles are holding it up. Barely holding it up. Anymore they ain't.
We should ask that girl on the ice what's going on here.
I had a little... There it is. Someone's home away from home, just like yours. A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Oh. Hello there.
It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing. Your child is freezing. Where's your hat?
Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little louder. I said you should have a hat on.
So should you.
You don't have to do anything. I should, and I do. I have this great weatherproof froggy visor on my head.
Oh. I didn't notice that.
Now that that's all cleared up, I have some questions for you.
Sorry, man. My mind was elsewhere. Shoot.
So what's your name?
Estelle.
Her hair is dyed blonde with dark roots showing. There's a coarseness to her features, some masculinity below that timidness. Estelle who? I'm not a young suitor. This is official police business.
Okay, it's Burger.
Burger. I like burgers. What's that device you have there?
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still.
And the wires?
Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone.
It's a contact microphone.
A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Where'd you get this mic from?
Same place I got the recorder from, the Elysium.
What's the Elysium?
Oh man, you haven't been to the Elysium? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though. Sounds interesting. Who is this Arno guy?
Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck. Or really be a Palaceum going kind of person.
I get down.
I don't know what that means.
I grind.
I don't know what that means either.
It means I am hip beyond my years. But here we go. Nor do I, but I have concrete evidence that I rock in the form of a rec-tape player in a completely trashed hostel room.
That's cool.
It's like she doesn't know what to say. You're right, time has deserted me.
Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps?
Good thing I find magnesium everywhere. Actually, I had some help. Wait, this could be relevant to something. How does that thing work?
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble.
Alright then, I had some non-mic questions for you.
Okay.
What are you doing out here in the cold?
Recording, I guess.
And what is it you're recording exactly?
I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that will sound.
What happened to the headphones?
My boyfriend sold them.
What for?
I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
Everything checks out, sire. Thanks, drama. You did it. What are these recordings for? The cracks, the footsteps?
The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain. Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be, like, a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device, the thing that she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels childish, very useless all of a sudden.
Take this, your call.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
That's oh fucking K.
It's okay.
I don't want to give her my froggy visor, though. Also, it would be stupid. You said it's supposed to be a music place. What is?
That? The boys think it could be a
The
place,
church.
like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not going to be a Palaceum, that's for sure.
The boys?
Yeah. Andre and the guys, they're inside, in the tent.
And why is that? Why are you freezing out here while the boys are inside?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room.
Stuff like what?
Music stuff, mostly. Like this tape recorder, but bigger. And there's piles of it.
Why not just leave some of it outside so you don't have to freeze?
That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. I can take the cold.
I had some other questions.
Go ahead.
Tell me more about this music place you've been planning in the church.
It's supposed to become, like, a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Palaceum. Except that, yeah.
She looks at the old wooden church up on the poles as a mean wind comes bellowing in. The 6-story structure lets out a doleful shriek. What is anodic dance music?
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments.
Got it. Now about the church.
What do you need to know?
That was a secret task to ask about anodic music? So you want to turn the church into a club?
I know. It's not my idea. Andre and the boys found the place. It was supposed to be deserted, but now they can't even take it.
We are like way off track in terms of our actual investigation at this point. I kind of came over here to kill some time rather than go straight for the Hardy Boys, and now here I am just like, tell me more about this weird kid music.
Hey, don't get me wrong, but you're cops, right?
Yeah, why do you ask?
Okay, well, maybe you could talk to Andre and the guys, because there are some strange things going on in that church. If you're police, you should look into it, right?
I'll talk to him.
They're inside that thing there. Would be cool if you did. Was there something else?
Did you put the padlock on the church door?
No.
No?
Not really, no.
So this isn't yours?
It's Noid's.
Why did this Noid person put a padlock on the church door?
To keep more weirdos from getting in. Fucking Martinez. I'm sorry. It's got the worst weirdos. If you get around to it, ask Andre about him, he'll tell ya.
Enough about the church then, I had another question.
Go ahead.
Do you want to try this? The device is still warm from her touch and as heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo Omicron adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands. I'm sorry you have to sit here on the ice feeling miserable at your age or at any age in this weather, waiting for it to get dark. She looks at you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup. People who built this world intended it to be better for you, but they failed. It is easier to live in their failure with this by your side. Oh. This game again hitting you right in the reality. The wind howls, she remains silent. It's real, tell her. Not a childish fantasy, it can be a real weapon against what's coming for you now.
What is?
Nothing if you got this, don't be scared.
Okay, I'll stick to it.
Something changes between you two. She looks at you differently now as an equal, a fellow human being.
So thanks, I guess, for the psych session. Maybe I can return it. What's been eating you, officer?
It said eating me? There's nothing eating me.
Come on, I can tell. But, okay. Be a boyadero about it if you want to.
I guess there's something that's been making my life hell.
What is it?
Oh, for fuck's sake, dude. I'm sorry your mommy didn't hug you. Stop making that my problem. Anyway, I think it's the plight of the working class.
Oh. Really?
The golem of capital runs rampant, smashing creator and slave alike. I fear the process is irreversible.
Wow. Social justice really matters that much to you. That's commendable. It really had you shaken up there. Are you sure that's it, though?
No, that's probably not it, is it?
No. It sounds like you just got chick issues.
Now that you mentioned it, I found these letters I had thrown in the trash. They might have something to do with it.
Okay. Why'd you think that?
They were written in a woman's hand, and boy, oh boy, did reading them make me not feel good.
There you have it then, chick trouble. Not political after all. Who was she?
I don't remember.
Really? You seem to be pretty upset about this chica. Are you sure you don't remember anything about her?
I remember her scent, and that's all.
Wow, man. That's some pretty strange shit. Are you sure the letters were for you?
Yeah, I'm sure. Why would I have reacted so strongly otherwise?
How come you don't remember, though? Is it like some selective memory thing?
You're twice in the same conversation. This game has hidden me right in the life. Like, would you... Alright, not to get too personal and too heavy about this, but like, when I think to my last relationship, a therapist asked me one time, what happened there? Like, how did that end? And I said, would you believe if I don't remember? Literally, like, the circumstances that ended that relationship, I apparently do not remember. Scary shit, huh? What do you mean by selective memory?
Man, when I get hurt, I just want to forget that shit, you know? That kind of selective memory.
Yeah, maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I think it might be more about me getting so unbelievably drunk I completely erase all memory of this world.
Yeah, or it might be that. This one time I did so much booze that I forgot too.
One time I got so completely fucking sky high on alcohol. It's obvious she has done more than booze. Thank you, Logic.
Or it might just be some psych bullshit, you know? Königstein wank.
What is Königstein wank?
You know, the psych thing they've got going on there. Rich people like it. People in Königstein are mostly rich.
Thanks for the bullshit psych thing, then.
You're welcome. Might be for the best to keep that shit forgotten, though. Just my opinion. If it itches, don't scratch.
This was a nice conversation. Alright, that's it for now.
Okay, bye.
Was not expecting that person to end up so likable. The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men, all in forward-looking apparel reminiscent of the sticker on the padlock, are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
Okay.
Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
Actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Kind of like this tune, actually. It's a very short loop, but it smells like sweat and laundry detergent, plus a trace of ether. Canister's filled with what appears to be water. Label says distilled. Speaker. Big kind they use for live music. Pile of nasal sprays, brand name Nosafed Ultra. Sure have a lot of stuff hanging around here, don't you? You see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
There's definitely something futuristic about his hair, aggressively so. You get the sense that this is what the future will look like. Imbecilic. Yes, should the future ever come, it will look deeply imbecilic like this guy. His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He is trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg!
Egg! The tape player high above his head continues to blast what is probably anodic music.
Together with a Cell Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
How many music venues have you organized?
We have many in the pipeline, officer.
That's, let's see, how many words is that? 7 words all mean no. Why are you here?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
There's no need, the place is pretty bad.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the church. And I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads, burnouts.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revershol.
Strike that, the world.
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad these dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good, this calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those. What kind?
The spooky kind.
What exactly do you mean by spooky?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge.
Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that.
Egghead is great.
Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
I'll look into it, tell me more.
All right, man.
Andre is obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchange giddy looks. Estelle told me Noid put the padlock on the door. Why?
Oh, so you met her. Good.
He's not as glad as he would like you to think. There's concern in his voice.
I did ask Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. It's a temporary fix, just something to contain the situation.
I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work, but it should hold for a while.
He was so sure that the H in that word was supposed to be silent that he turned that A into an N. Anari. I need the key.
Of course. Noid, give the officer the key.
All right.
Oh man, it's time to be the cool cop. Yes! You sense the trajectory of the little piece of metal and plastic. The object makes a small ringing sound as it approaches. Just the tiniest chime to your left. Boom! Ka-ching, the key hits your palm. The Speed Freaks nod to you approvingly. Thanks, man. Speed Freak nods to you. A respectful nod. You proved something here. How long have those people been locked in there?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
How can you be sure they haven't starved to death?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
85%'s good enough. No one lives forever, baby.
Exactly. That's exactly what we thought.
I hope Kim isn't listening to any of this.
The cage of the rage! Rough blaze! Egg means the situation is monitored. It's relatively safe. No one has died yet.
Right. Other questions?
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it.
Wanted to ask you about this tent full of equipment.
Yes. What?
See, you brought your own water.
Yeah. Good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even is running water.
And it's distilled, too.
Oh. It's the one they sell at the fuel station.
I hate to tell you, but it reeks of sweat in here.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Wait, I also smell ether. Why?
Ether? I don't smell ether. Do you, Noid?
No.
It's mixed with a peculiar chemical scent like laundry detergent. Doesn't take a forensic scientist to guess it's drug-related. They look and act like the kind of guys who've done their fair share. However, their breathing is regular, their jaws stay put, and their pupils aren't dilated, so not under the influence right now. What's with all the Nosafed?
The what now?
The Nosafed Ultra. You have a lot of it lying around.
Oh, the old Ultra. I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter. Can't even breathe.
You sound fine to me.
Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosafed is the shit.
I have nose problems too.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away.
Alright, that's enough of this. Do I really need a godly logic check to tell that they're making drugs out of all these drug materials that they brought? Alright, well, whatever. It's neither here nor there for right now. I mean, here again, we're already way off track in terms of what we're actually supposed to be investigating.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
That's not what he said at all. It's the kind of loop that just sort of reprograms your brain and turns it off, you know what I mean? Just a rhythm, little else. I don't necessarily even mean that in a bad way. Sometimes it's just what you need. Be good, like, thinking music. Paradoxically, even though I just said it kind of turns your brain off. You know what I mean. Like, usually my mind is very busy when I'm listening to music. I like mentally stimulating music. I like music with a lot of layers, a lot of things going on. It gives my brain something to pick apart. You know, that's what I like in music. Usually.
Let's go.
A great whoosh of air rushes into the dark innards of the church as though rushing to fill a great vacuum in the heart of the city. Strange stillness fills you as you look ahead. You should walk here, not run. The grotesque wooden figure looks half finished. Feels like it's trying to become one with the church. Figure was added later. It's not part of the original church. The music in here too. What were the forked lightning pattern you saw outside? Bark beetles? No, it looks intentional. Some long-forgotten style. I like it in here. The blackboard is filled with complex equations. They look recent. 2 decks of reel-to-reel tape spinning on empty. Portable Harman Wowshy tape recorder. Is it possible it's recording something? Someone's siphoning electrical current from outside into this antenna. Leveled up again, did I? What else do I need? Why don't I bump up Inland Empire one more notch and really make sure I pass any checks coming up from that? I don't know. There's a lot I could use, actually. Could always use more suggestion skill. You know what? Yeah, let's put 1 into suggestion. In white, silver, and apricot fines. I didn't realize this game challenged my vocabulary so much. The young mother of humanism stands above you. A crack runs across her body. She is impossibly tall, oval-faced, and sad. A dark and radiant majesty. This is her innocence, Dolores Day. Cradled in her arms are a pair of glowing lungs, clearly visible from underneath her flowing dress. You should kneel. Your knees touch the floor. The floorboards are hard and cold. There you kneel among the snowdrifts, diffuse light falling on your hands from beyond the glass. That, here's tech man to the rescue again, apparently means earthenware decorated with colorful, opaque glazes. Oh yeah, I know what that sort of thing is. The woman looks down at you kneeling. She towers among her followers, architects, laymen, courtiers. There's a sad smile on her lips and a glint in her green-blue of what? In her green-blue eye of what? Compassion? Remorse? She acknowledges the passing of someone who is still alive. You. No, she doesn't care about you. She only cares about her shiny sovereign's orb and her silk robes and getting to the aerodrome on time to leave. As that terrible word, mourning, passes through your mind, the lieutenant draws an X-shaped cross from shoulder to shoulder. Your fingertips just touch your chest 4 times. Then you rise from your knees into the apricot-colored light of the window. Above you, the woman still smiles her distant smile, sundered by the crack of the glass. Hello. This is Dolores Day.
The old woman in the village was right. This must be the Delorean Church of Humanity in Martinez, or the small Pinewood Church in some records.
You know of the place?
It's a minor landmark, not easy to find. Most maps misplace it. It was built not long after Ravachol's founding, 300 or so years ago, by first-generation settlers.
What else do you know?
There used to be 7 stave churches on the coast. Les Sept Sœurs, they call them, the 7 sisters. Only one remains. The rest were burnt in the revolution or used for building materials. We should be respectful here, although the building appears to be deserted. I do not believe we'll find anything connected to the lynching here. Something else, perhaps?
Why does she have Sauron in front of her? Respectful? Is the lieutenant a follower of Deloreanism? There it is again, a small pang of guilt. It's time to ask him what happened here. Do you know why it was abandoned?
I have a theory, yes. There was a police raid a while back. I heard the place was shot to pieces. The old woman in the village was being tactful with us when she didn't mention it. She has more respect for the RCM than many around here.
Who conducted this raid?
Well, your station was involved, I hear. Although I can't be sure.
You're not sure?
3 precincts were involved in the raid, and people say Precinct 41 was one of them.
I don't remember being here.
I am pretty sure it was a clandestine operation. I don't know anything more about it, why it was conducted, or who participated. I try not to pry into extra-district matters.
If I was here, I should find out what I was doing.
Good luck. You will not get information on a confidential operation from your station secretary just by calling. If you really don't remember, it might be better to keep this one forgotten. It happened a while ago. It's unimportant to our business in Martinez now.
Kim, are you a follower of DeLoreanism?
Yes, we all are. Her name, body, and rule are synonymous with humanism. The laws we enforce are DeLorean in origin.
The woman looks by in silence, smiling enigmatically. I didn't think you were spiritual.
It's not spiritual, it's constitutional. The DeLorean system does not demand faith, only accordance.
How did I know this is the mother of humanism? It's a mystery sprinkled with self-pity and regret. For some reason unknown to your mind, looking at her delicate eyes makes you feel like you're ready for drowning. Your heart knows, but it doesn't want to say it, not yet. Let these things be unknown for now. All you know is this is the young mother of humanity, and that you should go, do something else. Escape her sad, worry-worn look. Damn. The shards glimmer in the dark. You see little pearls of light on the edges of the crack that splits the female figure. Something was written there. Remains of broken letters line the emulsion. What it said, you do not know. Hang on, I gotta check this out. So, computers in this universe are really interesting. The machine stands in the corner, watched over by the figures on the stained glass window. It is turned on and quivering with soft electricity.
A radio computer. And it's turned on.
These machines sometimes harbor traps, he thinks, alarm systems and the like. Let's be careful.
We should leave. I doubt this place bears any connection to the case.
Yes, but what is this strange thing?
A radio computer. We have one down at the station. No, I don't know how to operate it or what it's used for. Let's go.
Quaint little box of radio waves. Yeah, you're right, let's get out of here. But Kim, we can't leave yet. There might be shoes. Am I still wearing my green snakeskin shoes? Yes. I literally have not even found any other shoes yet. I'm still wearing the green snakeskin. That's amazing. Oh, yeah. And they're plus empathy. These dapper snakeskin shoes have an almost invisible white-on-white flower motif sewn onto the tongue. The toe caps are still dusty from lying in the church. Now those are shoes. And monies. What's the etiquette for just taking money that you find lying around in an old church? That's an okay thing to do, right? Pants? Scarf. Another scarf I will never wear. The silence in this part of the church is almost palpable. All the shifting matter and shuffling of living things is gone. Nothing seems to exist beyond the church anymore. If you were to stand at just the right spot, even your footsteps would be completely silent. Wait, I think I still hear something. And then it's gone. Almost all of it, but for the faintest of hums. You can hardly hear your own breathing. You produce a few muffled thumps, after which the silence feels even more total somehow. Your voice is barely audible, not a howl, but for the softest of whimpers. It's unnerving. What's happening? The lieutenant points to his ears and shakes his head, then he leans closer.
Can you hear anything?
Almost nothing, and it's beginning to worry me.
The church just has strange acoustics, some engineering trick.
His detached tone conceals how uncomfortable he is. Maybe the church was designed in this way to prevent boisterous activity, singing and dancing on its premises? Hey, what if it's something paranatural?
Please, detective, not this again.
He's trying to act dismissive, but at this particular moment he's more open than usual to the idea of paranatural phenomena. The orderly rows of ceiling panels become barely visible and then disappear completely in the darkness of the tower overhead. Good roll. Ooh. It's like there's something moving up there. A shadow has emerged from the tower and is making its way towards you through all the other shadows. It's not a shadow anymore, becoming more substantial as it gets closer. The shape of an animal descends.
Officer, is there something up there?
Oh no, you've lost sight of it. Where did it go? SCP. You see something hanging from the rafters, looking straight at you with dark eyes. Maybe it's possible to talk to it? The shadow is a man, but the man made of the same stuff as the carpentry of the building. He's studying you intently. Hey, who's there? The man leans forward a little, fixing you with a steady, unreadable gaze, and then speaks.
Habitual alcohol use has made you into a scared little pussy, Holmes. But don't worry, everything's gonna be alright. You come to the right place.
I don't think that's what I expected his voice to sound like. The right place for what?
Here you can receive the mother's love. And when you're ready, she will take your hand and lift you out of the despair at the bottom of that bottle.
This man is obviously a habitual narcotics user. Do we really need to question him?
I'm put off by this religious stuff, he thinks, and maybe the ceiling climbing too. It's all very hard to square with the lieutenant's own view of reality. Hey, what was that about the bottle again? You haven't even touched that stuff. Drank that much lately. Lay off it already. Sheesh. I'm a policeman. I need to talk to you about police things. I don't know anything about alcohol use.
Oh yeah, sure. You don't know anything about alcohol use. You got it all under control, Way. I could smell the control all the way over here.
Okay, fine, I'm struggling, but you don't need to lecture me. I know what I need to do.
Not all of it. I was like you once. You don't know all the havoc Albino is wreaking on your mind and your spirit. Necesita parar, homie.
You need to stop, homie.
You know, actually, since we're here, you may want to pay attention to what the ceiling climber is saying.
Oh, sure, now you're on his side. Some reason I feel like you have a point there.
Don't trust me. Trust the mother. I'm only the messenger, Holmes. This is the Church of the Mother of Silence. You are welcome here.
He sways gently on the beams, waiting for you to take it all in. This Mother of Silence sounds like a serious player. You might want to be careful until you find out what you're dealing with. Did you just climb down from the church tower?
Sure did, Holmes.
Are you human? You weren't moving like a human.
I am. At least in part, Holmes. Until the mother's love burns away the cruel distinctions of the body.
Well, at least you're human. That's a relief.
Glad you're feeling more comfortable. First-timers are always nervous.
Okay, I have other questions. What are you doing here?
This is a special place. There's a perforation in the world up there, a way out into nothingness. This church was built around it for purposes of veneration. I circled it, nurtured by the silence bestowed by the mother. One of these days, I'll be pure enough to go drink from it directly.
This mother of silence, do you mean her?
No. There's a new god in town, and she can't be painted or sculpted because she has no limb or even a face. She is the end. She is a cavity in the dark beyond sense. She saved me, but I couldn't describe her to you. No one can, Holmes, and no one ever will.
What will happen once you drink from this perforation?
I will be incinerated, but not destroyed. Finally, I won with the state of the world before reality began.
Wild. Are these yours?
I think they were. A long time ago. I had to shed them like skins to get closer to the center of the silence. You could have them. I don't need them anymore.
Alright, so my shoes came from a crazy naked church climber guy. Good. How did you even find this place, this church?
Hard to say. I think I did some construction work here, back when I still had material worries. Up there, I realized what the true purpose of the church was. Been spending a lot of time here ever since. The past is nothing to me now, eh? It didn't belong to me.
Right, I had other questions. You've been here so long time. Did you see the police raid that took place here?
Something like that.
Did you witness it?
Not really. Or at least I don't remember much of it anymore. The mother's love has done its job. That's what's so great about the mother. It lets you forget about everything.
Do you know where the other spooker is?
¿Other spooker? Oh, esa viejita es muy estudiosa. Don't know, Holmes.
So wait, there is another person living in the church, and it's a viejita.
No. I just call her viejita because of her clothes. She's actually quite young. Or maybe not that young. Age is just one of the many masks we wear.
And you don't know where she is?
That's what I said, Holmes.
How can you not know when you both live here?
Don't really follow her comings and goings. Just see her typing on her computer now and then. We got different interests.
So you've got nothing else to tell me? How she looks, what she does, who is she?
I'm afraid not, Essay. You just have to wait until she comes back, or
search through her radio computer. Some ravers want to turn this place into a nightclub.
The ones in the tent outside, right? I see them. Think they scared of me.
Do they have reason to be scared?
Nah, man. They look pretty funny. And I don't harm no one anymore. Anyway.
That is a big anymore. So Half-Light agrees. So what do you think about the nightclub, that is?
Why not? They wouldn't bother me none. I'm usually way up there, imbibing. Ain't no music on earth that can reach where I go. Might even be nice to have some company.
He said that in spite of himself. He's more attached to the human than he'd like to think. Okay then, thanks. Scarf. Right, I need conceptualization for a few things. Well, not Measurehead, we're not doing that. I think that rhetoric check from Silang is to get him to give you money. I can retry the suggestion check on her. Yeah, he's not a bad guy. He's just very... He sure is... I don't think we've accomplished anything too important here. Yeah, I'm wondering about those two guys. I thought they were around somewhere. I don't know if I passed by them or... Can take another quick look around, but I'd probably need to talk to these guys.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
About the church. I checked it out.
And? What happened?
I talked to a shadow-clad being climbing the beams, a man living on the ceiling.
Oh man, the crab man you mean? Who is he? What did you think?
Seemed okay, to be honest. Very spiritual.
Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
Just preaching and praying from the looks of it.
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem? Yeah, Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will never catch him. You'll never catch him. There's nothing to do. Actually, he told me he wouldn't mind the nightclub at all.
I dunno, man. Doesn't it feel like a major hindrance to you? A spooky guy climbing around when all the guests are trying to have nice, friendly hyper time?
I don't think he really gives a damn about you or anyone else.
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it. Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light! Yeah!
Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her?
I didn't see the other spooker, just some machines.
But she's in there somewhere. Has to be. Have you tried investigating the machines? Anyway, do let us know if you see her.
They want to turn the church into a club, but a suspicious element has overtaken the building. It's very important to understand what the gist of things is. Yeah, that's a lot of words about a failed check.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah. I like this game. This game just has good effects on me. It just puts me in a good place. Sometimes a sad place. Sometimes a sad place can be a good place. I kinda do want to meet the other spooker now. Like, this is extremely tangential to anything that actually matters. And yet, I'm now very interested. Time to go mess with the radio computer. The machine stands in the corner. Yep. The lieutenant doesn't like saying anything, but you can sense that he doesn't like you meddling with the machine. Let me just investigate the... You see virescent play and print buttons on the keyboard. A hatch connected to the central compartment is wide open. The lieutenant says nothing. You see the machine's glowing frame reflected back from his diamond-shaped lens glasses. You are free to proceed. Behind the hatch sits a cube-like crisscross of filaments, smoldering in the dark like fireflies. Silver tape on the side says in black marker, log, Feb through March. Press play. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic driver. Oh no, it was already glowing and now it's making a sound. It's probably some alien seal-like technology. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting into the air.
Good afternoon. Votre accident en Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
What's the personal log?
The filament you have inserted into the core.
You mean the glowing thing with the tape on it that said log Feb through March?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Is this the personal log?
I don't know, maybe.
If you are unsure, could you please take a look?
How do I do that?
Open the hatch on the compartment. Don't touch the wires. A current is running through it, but the core is safe. There's a filament inside. I need to know what it's called.
It just says log Feb through March and nothing else.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Let's look around. There's no use trying to guess the answer. Maybe he knows something.
I don't know the password.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
That sounds bad. A login attempt, something a criminal would do.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
Fortress accident. Sounds familiar.
The company on whose name the terminal you're currently using has been registered to.
Do you have any other information about this company?
One moment. Fortress Accident SCS produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games. That's what the catalog says.
That's not bad. Wow, so conceptual.
I wouldn't know. I'm only here for passwords.
You probably have, TechBand. I'm pretty sure you've been in the place where it is, so I think you have seen another radio computer. So, and what's that, this interactive call-in radio game?
Any other questions?
Thanks, but I'm finished with this call.
Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
I've gained nothing. Maybe Tiago knows something.
Oh, hey, wait. There's coffee in the back. Oh, wait. I meant the mother's love.
Have you by any chance heard the VA Hita say the password to a radio computer?
Too many times, Esse. You need it for something.
No need to overdo it, he won't mind sharing it with you. Yes, it's for a first-degree murder investigation in Martinez. Lieutenant raises his eyebrow but doesn't say anything.
Don't sweat it, vato. The password is afterlife death.
That is true, but what comes after death?
What you think of that? Makes me almost pity La Nilita Pequeña when I hear it.
Okay, thanks.
I think we're done here, Esse.
Pequeña means small. The little nihilist is basically what he said.
That was an interesting conversation. However, I'm still not sure how it's relevant to our investigation.
You know, Kim, me neither. But we are fuck deep in this shit now. I must know the secrets of the radio computer and the other spooky lady. And her spooky password.
Good afternoon, Fortress Accident on Saint-Brune. This is the East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the personal log?
Let's try this again. I think I had the right password for the personal log.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Afterlife, death.
Good. I have unlocked the filament. After ending the call, please press print to access the filament. Fortress Accident, is there anything else I can do for you today?
Thanks, but I'm finished with this call.
Goodbye, Fortress Accident.
The printer prints out a long text document with dated paragraph. Looks a bit like somebody's journal. The first entry, made on the 4th of February 51 by an unknown author, is short and concise. Arrived at the church. The door was boarded up, so I used a crowbar to get inside. Looks like the place has been deserted. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll ask around. Need to figure out how to get the electricity in. The lieutenant leans closer, scouring the printout over your shoulder. Just as you finish reading, he looks up, muttering under his breath.
4th of February. That's over a month ago. Whoever set up those machines has been here for quite a while.
So the current year is 51. I still don't really know the first two digits. I think the first one is a 1. It's X-teen51. Maybe. I don't know. Sixth of February 51. Had a little chat with the local fisherman. Says I shouldn't go near that place, that the church was spooky and ridden with narcotics. It is a little spooky, alright. Still haven't figured out the electricity. See, even one of the spookers themselves says it's unnerving. Finally got the electricity in. Next on the agenda, a new antenna. I'm thinking Esker series, something advanced. Why would you need an antenna?
Why would anyone need any of this equipment here?
Bought the antenna, had some problems setting it up, called Simo for help. Heard the others are back to making art, which means drinking somewhere out of town. Sulislaw started a rock band again. Lexi has been asking money for strangers. But at least the artists have their act together. They're qualified labor, they can get work anywhere. Graphic design, ads. Programmers are doing fine too. I mean, they're programmers. The writers, though, they're fucked. I just had to find out what caused that data loss and be done with it. Still don't understand how it managed to wipe out the backup when the backup wasn't even connected to the front. I know, everyone thinks it's impossible. They say I must be lying. I'm here to set it right. Artists, programmers, Lexi, who are all these people?
Her friends? Colleagues? She must be quite educated if she knew how to set up all this machinery.
Data loss, huh?
Seems like something to do with radio computers. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about them to understand what the author is saying. Something about the backup data getting destroyed, and how everyone thought it was the author's fault. Let's just keep reading.
Bought some food from the grocery store. Apparently there's a strike going on in the harbor. Definitely not happy to see the Martinez people again. Everything's now set up in the church. Going to start working tomorrow at 8 a.m.
The strike. We are nearing the date of the murder. Keep reading. I'm interested now. I want to know what's that radio anomaly that sent this person here in the first place.
Ah, see, maybe it is connected. I've been sending data up to Lintel for a while now, trying to recreate the data loss, but nothing. Didn't even feel like logging in, the disappointment. But it did discover a curious audio-spatial anomaly at the back of the church. I've named it The Swallow, as it swallows sound. Need to get some mics.
Is she talking about?
Yes, the first recordings confirm that the swallow is real, and I'm not just losing my mind. It's a pillar of silence with a diameter of approximately 3 meters. Seems like the higher I go, the less I record. This might be a coincidence, or it could be connected to the data loss that led me here.
The pillar of silence. She is talking about the silence. Is she suggesting it's more than just an architectural quirk?
But what could it be? The lieutenant doesn't answer. He follows your gaze, studying the basins. The water shines in them, no ripples. Some kind of young disco man have appeared next to the church. I've been trying to record the silence to find the epicenter, but now it turns out I've also been capturing the future of dance music. One neo-disco song over and over again. Fortunately, the song is so monotonous that I was able to devise an algorithm to factor it out. The other day, one of the disco men came in. Before I could even say hello, she got scared and left. Good, I don't want anyone distracting me from my work. Must be describing a cell.
The girl on the ice? Sounds like her, yes.
A new 2-meter aux cable, noodles, crackers, ping energy drinks, water, toothpaste, gum, some canned air. Hi.
Breaking into my radio computer, I see.
I do apologize for the intrusion, madame. We are with the RCM, you see.
We're on a side case representing certain music venue organizers.
Well, you won't find any music venue organizers here. It's just me and my computer, and it has been this way for weeks. Now please give me some room. I need 2 seconds to see that you haven't destroyed anything.
We should talk to her after she has rebooted the machine.
What is it?
I didn't break anything, did I?
No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper.
Sorry, but who are you? What are you doing here?
I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios. I have over 16 years of programming experience and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages.
I'm not trying to hire you.
If you're not here to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you.
That was weirdly prescient. Have you seen the Crab Man?
No.
But you know he's around.
Yes.
He's seen you.
And?
Okay, it's probably not a big deal then.
No, you're right. I'm not.
So what are you doing in an abandoned church?
You really like those questions, don't you?
I'm a police officer. It's my job to ask questions.
I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out.
What research?
I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said. Lieutenant raises his brows but doesn't say anything. Is the hole connected to the data loss in your journal?
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that.
Hole in the world? What does that mean exactly?
Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What do you think it is? What qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
The age-old paradox. To observe, to measure a void is to paradoxically cause it not to be. It's a little above your pay grade at the moment. Hold on a moment. Does that mean we're now living in a world that has holes in it?
I don't know. Are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. But how do I figure it out?
I can't even understand how we're talking about something that doesn't exist, let alone measure it.
You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find out where it begins. But honestly, it's not progressing very well.
But what does it have to do... But what does it have anything to do with necroplasmic life forms, ghosts in everyday parlance? Do you have any idea where this hole might be located?
Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of raptors could be made out from the dark, most of the tower disappearing into the shade. Strange things may flourish in the dark. Why there?
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to cease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record.
The Pillar of Silence? Are you sure it's not just an architectural quirk?
Maybe, but it's oddly close to the physical coordinates of the data loss that led me to this place.
This is where the Crabman lives.
I know.
You don't think Crabman might somehow be responsible here?
No, I don't.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning, her hands typing hundreds of commands into the machine. You said that your research isn't going well, why not?
Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work.
That's all I wanted to know about the scary 2mm hole in the world for now.
Great. Thanks.
How do you feel about Nordic dance music?
What? I hate it.
I bet she hasn't even heard it. Have you even listened to it? Like, actually listened?
Yeah. Like, all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No idea what it has to do with either dancing or music.
Right, but how do you feel about a club for Nordic dance music?
This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it? I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here.
What do they want to build, then?
Take a guess, why don't you?
A youth center would be nice.
I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
Good luck. I'm not coming in there.
It's time to put on my logic pants. We're burning a lot of daylight, by the way. It's 5 o'clock. Yes, here we go. Put on my logic glasses. +2 logic, we can do better. Got my intro isolary dress shirt on already. I could put on my racially insensitive conical hat. Yeah, there we go. I don't know, man. It's just a hat. I have a logic jacket too. Oh, and the like icon works now. That's good. That was a weird bug before then. I'm now ready to do logic. Look at me go. Doesn't matter what the scarves are because I can't put them on. Yes, I feel extremely logical right now. What do you think, Kip? Memo to self when role-playing Alaro. Whenever he has to think hard about something, make sure you're wearing the hat. It makes you logical. Everybody out of the way, I have important logic to do. Logic police. With my bag full of discarded cans and bottles. And my smelly toilet ledger. Ready to do logics.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
A number of things don't add up. Let's take a look. How about gather round, kids? Okay, kids, now gather around. The young speed freak puts down a busted capacitor and looks at you. That was a good exchange. Kaz goes, but does it lose its logic bonus if it isn't mildly racist? Someone goes, racism has nothing to do with logic. That's pretty true. Yep. Sometimes it likes to pretend it does. Nope. The one with the large head seems very enthusiastic about whatever you have planned. Oh, poor egghead. Their would-be leader is less amused. Sometime in the past, I'm not sure when and where, but betrayal was involved. I fell sick and became the shadow you see now, but before that, I had reason to believe I was a police detective.
But you still are!
Wow, what is this? This whole... all these words I'm saying are new to me. I was good enough at this job to be awarded the rank of Lieutenant Yefferter. I could have been captain, imagine that.
What happened?
Disco happened.
I've been trying to say we need the next step in dance music to happen fast.
Shut it!
What? I have! I've said that!
Now, obviously that might as well have been 1,000 years ago, but there's still some detective left in me. He senses something is wrong. You're sober. Was it hard for you to keep sober for this meeting?
We don't need drugs to be hardcore.
Shut the fuck up, Egg!
Maybe not today, Egg, but you need drugs to get through the days where you're not expecting me.
Climb down from the equestrian monument, cop man. Consciousness is new to the universe. We all have our ways to ease the shock.
Bottom line is, I know.
What exactly is it you know?
This isn't the makings of a club, it's a tent full of laboratory equipment for manufacturing drugs.
I have no idea how you arrived at that conclusion, but it's wrong. Look, we even have speakers.
You have a speaker. Where's his friend? Did he lose his friend?
What do you mean, friend?
The other speaker, you have only one.
It's a one-speaker system. It's monodynamic. You wouldn't know the first thing about sound reproduction in anodic music. Other speaker.
You have no headphones. Wouldn't the cell need her headphones to spin tape?
What do you know about spinning tape? Nothing.
The nose effect here is for its active ingredient.
He said it was for his nose. What more do you want?
Distilled water, cornerstone of a clean lab.
And of all cellular-based life. What's your point, Lawbringer?
Ether in the air, a useful solvent, good for getting acting agent out of a solution.
Make up your mind. First it's the sweat, then it's the ether.
There's no need for me to pile on anymore, is there?
No shit.
In short, you tried to use a police detective to set up a drug lab.
That's... Come on, that's...
Preposterous?
I meant to say, not true.
So what are we gonna do with you?
What do you mean, do?
There is resignation in his voice. He's almost ready to drop the act. It wouldn't take a lot of pushing. The optimal way to go about this would be indifference. It begins by you telling him you don't care about any of this. That's interesting. I'm gonna listen to suggestion on this one. I don't really know what it's playing at. I don't really care. I just wanted to crack the case. Do what you want and I'll do what I want.
Really?
Really. I just wanted to ask you about something else.
You wanted to just ask me about something else?
Or you can tell me what the plan for the church really was. He thinks for a moment, then opens his mouth, but closes it again, then finally raises his hands.
Things are just way too hard for an entrepreneur in this city. It's not like we're not going to turn the church into the wickedest club in East Revershoal.
That was a slick move from suggestion there. That was a pretty good way to get in. That was a nice Death Star trench run shot right there.
Because we are! We totally are!
We just got to turn it into a speed lab first.
You know, to get our foot in the door.
And why did you need me?
Like I told you, spooky arseholes moved in while I was getting all this stuff together. A month ago, the place was empty, and now it's all spooked up.
They're not really spooky, are they?
No, man. They're spooky, all right. It's just that they would also probably call the police if we started cooking speed in there.
But the sign was way off, too. I couldn't feel the love at all.
So, what now?
This is it. Judgment time. Settle down, authority. I don't know how this is gonna work, but it's the one I like. Let's do this clean. No speed lab, just a club for anodic music.
Yeah!
I knew it. It's impossible now.
No, Andre, it's harder now. This hard cop has come to show us how much the fish is, and the fish is always so much more. We all know there was never going to be a club for anodic music with the Speed Lab. Now it has a fighting chance.
Egghead gets it. So there was never going to be a club in there?
There needs to be a club for anodic music in there. Needs to. Everyone hates each other. Everybody hates it here. It's all just drugs and we're slaves and I can't. We are running out of time. We need a win, Andre. I promise this will be a win. We won't cook speed in there. We'll do it clean. We'll do it true. We'll do it sober and real and beautiful. This will be a victory for the light.
I did not expect Egghead to be the one in this tent who makes the most sense. Like, all of a sudden, just boom, fucking truth drop. Egghead slam dunks it. Just, dude, no speed, just good. Let's call this incident crime prevention, but I have my eye on you.
Okay, we'll try to do it without the drugs. We'll do a straight club up in there, spinning the maddest reels, and nothing but, I swear to God. Okay, Egg?
From here on, it'll be straight all the way.
Goodbye, officer.
I don't know what I gained from that, but it felt good. I'm gonna take this hat off now. Where's my froggy visor? I don't feel like like a complete hobo cop without my froggy visor. Yeah, I was wondering, like, I don't know if they still plan on doing that here, or... This feels like not 100% resolved. What other shirts do I have? Rhetoric. I like logic. Maybe I'll talk to her about it a bit, again, a little. I don't expect to really achieve anything, but... What other pants do I have again? Composure, sure. Well, I mean... Sucks for the lady, I guess, but she might just have to live with it because she doesn't, you know, she doesn't own this place, she doesn't live here.
Yes, what is it?
Nah, I don't really even have any dialogue to open with her about it.
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything.
Why do you need an antenna?
I use the AR1 as my RAIN Prefect's processing unit.
Wait, what?
RAIN Prefect. My radio computer.
And that antenna is its processing unit?
Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you?
Not really.
All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna.
And the AR1, is it a good antenna?
I guess it is. So far, I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable.
Yeah, it's
But
like
it's not
computation,
the
like
cheapest one on the market. So I
by
wouldn't
just
recommend it for your
mid-air
regular uptake
electrons.
operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians. Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing.
She liked telling you this. It calmed her nerves.
Great. The Swallow, you mean? What about it? Great. Thanks.
I don't know if there's anything else I can do with this. It's one of those side quests that's designed to not really have a perfect solution, you know what I mean? Like, somebody's gonna get the short stick. And yeah, we've like blown most of day 3 on this. I'm being a bad cop today. Kim, how do you feel like it went today? Well, let's see. Farted around on the ice. Talked about microphones and radio computers. We found a spooky naked guy living in the church. But the dead body is not in the tree. Kent says there is a perfect solution.
So you talked to my associates, right? Are you going to help us? With the church, I mean.
Kent, I gotta ask some questions first.
Shoot.
Your associates tried to use me to set up a drug lab. I'm guessing you knew of this plan?
I did, and I'm sorry. For what it's worth, which isn't much.
This is why I didn't go into the tent. Typical delinquency.
You don't get to choose your posse, they choose you. Mine are idiots, but they're mine. I tried to talk Andre out of it. I even tried not to lie to you.
Indeed, she merely tried to omit the truth instead. I don't care, I'm loco. I just wanted you to know that I know about the plan.
Okay, but I still regret it. I should have been able to control them, and I will in the future. I promise. May I ask, what did you tell them?
Do what you will with your dance club plans, just no drug labs, please.
Thank you. I'll get them under wraps, I promise.
I'd like to know more about your associates.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
You must know something about them.
Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
Alright, maybe I'll ask later about all this.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but...
Yeah. Is there anything more I can say to these guys, or... Young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Wow sheet tape player. Nodding along to music, he looks at you with a knowing smile and says, as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret.
Hardcore! Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega!
Alright.
Here comes the night!
Could there be a right way out of this garden of forking paths, do you think? We're doing this.
This is hardcore.
Is it?
It's hardcore!
Just gonna keep saying it's hardcore, aren't you?
Skibber danger. I am the rearranger.
Well, that wasn't it.
Back to the heavyweight jam.
I love Egghead.
Hardcore! Hardcore!
But is it? I mean, really?
Yeah!
Yeah!
Luckyerski, Materialski!
Ooh.
True, hard, full, car! It's hardcore!
Damn it. I don't know what to say to that.
Skibber-D, skibber-danger. True, hard, hardcore! Hardcore to the mega. Internally coherent.
I was wondering if you knew who killed the mercenary hanging behind the whirling in rags hostel.
Good morning, yeah! 1, 2, 3, Yakokata, the place to be!
Why is this Yokokata the place to be? What does that mean?
Yakokata is a hardcore place!
We're learning so much.
Close. True, hard, full, car! Hardcore! Hardcore to the mega! Internally coherent. All car! Alright! Yeah!
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime, invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
So hardcore!
Is it though?
It is!
But is it? I mean, really?
Feels like you should reply with the very pinnacle of idiocy here so that things get totally transcended. But you haven't gotten there yet, so you still don't know what to say. I don't know what to say exactly.
Under the radar, over the top.
Damn.
Be close. True. Hardcore. Hardcore. Internally coherent. All car. All right. Hardcore.
No, but seriously, I'm a little worried that it isn't.
The question is, what is the question?
It would have been good if I'd asked you a question, but I didn't. That was just idiotic.
But there was a question?
Egghead is the most fascinating character in the game.
True. Hardcore. Hardcore to the internally coherent. All car. All hardcore. Ah!
The question is, but there was no question.
I love Egghead.
Hard, full, hardcore, internally coherent. All car. All right. Yeah.
Please tell me, what exactly are you doing?
Gotta get the people going.
I see.
Yeah, request. I want everybody as close to the stage as possible.
True, hard, full, car, hardcore, internally coherent. All car, all right, yeah.
So hardcore. I was just thinking that a moment ago.
One mind, one spirit. There's no other world. There's no other life.
Damn, that felt like a good one. I thought that might have been
Be
it.
close. True, hard, full, car. It's hardcore. Skibber. Be close. True, hardcore. Yeah.
You can yeah and say random things all day long, but the track still doesn't sound all that hard to me.
Spinning out lyrics since the day I was born. And the amount of lyrics I got is against the law. True, hardcore to the mega.
All right.
Here comes the night.
Damn.
True, hardcore, internally coherent.
I should be bothered by all this, but I'm really not. This is fascinating. I love this guy.
Hardcore.
So hardcore.
Is it though?
It is.
But is it? I mean, really?
The question is, what is the question?
No, but seriously, I'm a bit worried it isn't.
Don't be alarmed. Everything is okay. He isn't actually worried. Everything is still super hardcore. What he probably means is it could be even more so. You said you were worried. What do you think's wrong with the music?
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm still in love with the hardcore.
Sometimes I just feel like anodic music is in its infancy, you know? For example, take this Arno van Eyck jam I've been pumping for the last months, and will continue pumping for the rest of 51.
I like how his portrait is going completely Super Saiyan, by the way.
Isn't something holding it back from being hyper?
It's like it's only ultra.
I think it's super hardcore, but you're right. It's not hyper hardcore.
If anything, it sounds a bit proto, like it's not fully formed yet. You might be a moribund alcoholic and a failed cop, but you are pretty certain a thing cannot be both proto and hardcore. It's proto, not hardcore at all.
Wow! Culture cop! I think you might be right. But how could it become hardcore then? I know it in my heart, but cannot think it in my head. If this is not hardcore, how could anything be?
Wait, I just remembered something. I'm the police! Sounds suspiciously like a question. I thought the question was, what is the question?
No! This is the answer!
I just remembered something. I'm the police!
Uh-huh.
Actually, it's more likely to hinder us.
Oh.
Can't help you with this right now. I need something else, something extra.
Yeah!
Are you a thought reader?
No nation, but transnation! No war, but class war!
Does that mean you're a thought reader?
Don't be a lunatic. Of course he isn't. Jermaine here just yells random things. Odds are, sooner or later one of them will come off as thought reading.
Yeah! Reversion imperative!
Unless you were thinking Reversion imperative right now. Anyway, I've had a similar thing happen with X yelling. I know what you mean.
But I was thinking Revachol imperative.
That's fucked up, man. Lying like that. And a cop, too.
So you're not a thought reader, you're a communist.
He's not a communist. It's just something he likes to yell. He picked it up from a tape jockey at the Elysium. She was a communist, though.
Yeah! With the rebel yell!
Tell me something else, Egghead.
Yeah!
His real name Jermaine?
Dark hardcore! Jermaine Egghead!
Basically, yes it is.
Why are there lungs on your belt buckle?
Lungs are for love!
Why would lungs be for love? I don't love my lungs, they cause some problems for me.
When Dolores Day was anointed innocence, her lungs started glowing through her body. For the world loved her, and she loved it back. Yeah!
Egghead. Why wouldn't they be? Are the lungs not the place where you hold the breath of your soul? Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Love! In a woman's lungs. Lonely as I am, I'm not afraid. This strange, damaged feeling grows on and on. Cause I've never loved someone like you before. There's nothing
That's good
wrong
stuff
with
right
it.
there, man.
I'm still in love with the hardcore. Sometimes that isn't something, it's like, I think it's...
How much is the fish?
What? I think you might be right. No! What? Guys, there's something happening in his head.
It's cars.
Oh yeah! He's doing it!
But you're not. This is almost certainly a matter that surpasses the limits of reason. My imagination fails me.
I know! So does mine!
Damn, I want to help with the music.
Yeah!
Oh, here we go. A physical instrument check. Alright, hang on. I gotta dress the part.
Alright! Here comes the night!
Why does art inspire you so much? It does, yes, but what is art? Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. Additionally, it's history, criticism, and pure enjoyment. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined. Would I fit into the art world? I mean, have you looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic with that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture, too. I guess I have been feeling critical lately. Yes, you seek substance, no vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biannuals. We're talking real living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop. Okay, if 50% art critic is what's needed to free me from rote repetition, so be it. I'm art cop. Thought gained actual art degree. Exactly. It's not only your duty to catch the criminals of the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the triton derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces and reassemble. My god, can I be trusted with this kind of power? Alright, I need physical instrument. That might be all I have. I think those fallen gloves give you physical instrument, but I think they were also like 50 real. Can't even look at this shit. Yeah, it's another capo type, the worst one, the most savage and brutal, the art cop. Nothing is good enough for him, everything is shit. You have to employ an armada of adjectives to depict and demean the mediocrity of the works and visual institutions around you. Really flex that critical muscle, until the vocabulary for punishing mediocrity becomes second nature. I don't know if I like art cop.
Good morning! Yeah! Pump it up!
Alright. Come on, don't let me down here. Damn! No, that would be silly. Your body isn't for thinking, it's for robust, wholesome things. Things like discus, javelin, and 400-meter hurdles. Discus. Did someone say disco? Horrific necktie just gave me a reroll. Damn! Oh, I tried so hard. I'm trying that check again later. I don't care what I have to do. We've accomplished almost nothing actually relevant to the case.
Associates. Sorry. Me? I'm a silver bird.
Okay.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be...
This freaking game. We should probably, I mean, there's more, there are loose ends here. There's more to this. There's something else to figure out about what's going on with these nightclub guys. And the cranky lady trying to do science. And I didn't even find the cryptozoologist guy. Yeah, fully internalized art cop sounds bad.
Yes, what is it? No? Yes. No, you're right.
Damn. Alright, yeah, maybe I don't know. Come at this another time, I guess. It's not going anywhere. At least I don't think so. Get the boombox, I need that. That's the first thing on my route. So go to the Whirling in Rags. Give Garth the new bird. Can I run into the... I mean, I've checked pretty much everywhere around here, haven't no... Like I said, this part of the town is a little confusing to me for some reason. Yeah, here we go. Can we... Yeah, we can go this way. Alright. Here's a place we haven't been. Talk to them, but I'm not going to right now. I'm gonna come up here and check out whatever this is. I don't care about your people, I'm just interested in this box of guffins lying next to you. I'm running low on stream time here, I gotta try to get some shit done. The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years. Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it, and a small layer of white salt from the sea. Lieutenant, can you see what's inside?
No. I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer. Oh, there he is. Cool. And there are some other things here. Probably need the crowbar. Yes. Give me pants. No, just drugs and money. The smelly toilet ledger is great, man. Like, Inland Empire and Wet Empathy are like my two primary skills. I do want to talk to this guy, he's kind of interesting. But again, we're running out of stream time here. I want to talk to these two. I don't think the Hardy Boys have a bedtime, so I'm not in any huge hurry to run back to them. Monies. No boat in the boathouse today. Oh, nice! Oversized superstar sunglasses. Actually, speaking of drugs, I'm taking a lot of morale damage today. These are like the ones I picked out in San Andreas the other day. Boathouse. Woody. Why are you grabby hand? My cursor is grabby. Why are you grabby? It's supposed to be grabby. There's nothing grab. It broke. Game's ruined. Stream over. I quit. Gonna switch to Blaster Master 03. Oh, fallen hat. +2 logic. Good hat. Good, stupid looking, like, aerodynamic hat. Yes. Streamlined to let all the logic in. Keep the logic in. So the wind doesn't blow all the logic out of your head. I like my froggy visor. Yeah, interesting checks around here, but I want to go talk to Morel. Like, that was the whole reason I came in this direction at the start of the stream, and here, with 9 minutes to go in my usual block of time, I found him. After a whole lot of farting around with churches and weird meth kids and microphones and spooky naked church guys and tiny cages. If you gentlemen will excuse me for a second, I gotta go walk around and check out all the green dots first. The patch of reeds over there, it's a great place to hide something. Kind of out of the way being so close to the water. What's this about? Nothing, just a hunch. The hunch patches leaving you there with the old buoy bobbing in the water. Time to go. What are you up to, Inland Empire? Okay, I collected all the shinies.
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not out of this jam.
Of course he speaks in like an intense Australian accent. There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. Looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
There's Gary the crypto-fascist.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
Sorry, I'm laughing at tech fate. I'm all jam me thumb up. It's butthole. I enunciated the H too much. There's no H, butthole. Anyway, you must be Morel, the cryptozoologist.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Lena sent me. She's been really worried about you and is waiting for you to get back.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn waterlock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
Yeah, that was me. I broke the waterlock with my motor carriage, but it's fixed now. You can go back.
You broke the waterlock with a motor carriage? But there was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Now, see, I jumped over the canal in my motor carriage, tearing through the Samaran Butter sign, which fell into the canal, blocking the gates. I used the pawn shop as a launch ramp.
Why?
Because I'm insane.
Insane? Yes, okay, good. But you said the waterlock is fixed now. So we can go back.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
Tell me about this phasmid you're looking for.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
You, didn't read the first half of that line for some reason. What have you discovered about it so far?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
So no one's ever found one?
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real. By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
What would it be like to grasp and hold onto something you think is next to you or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? That's what he's searching for, a specter. Lena said there has been a sighting of it here in Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
Maybe the Insulindian phasmid has died out?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Thanks, Encyclopedia. Parthenogenesis.
Yes. The females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions.
That's pretty clever.
Yes. Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
Tell me more about these traps.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Lena designed the traps?
Yes.
How do they work?
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
Let me ask you about something else.
Yes. What?
Lena seems pretty eager for you to return.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morel. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
come on. She wants us back.
What an annoying man.
I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Won't let Lena down. Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the Phasmid somehow. I didn't know the Phasmid was so important to Lena.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Really? She sighted the Phasmid? She didn't tell me that.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious Phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian Phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Maybe you could go back to the whirling, warm up, come back to check the traps later?
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the Phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this. What if we check the traps for you?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Cryptozoology and detective work are very similar. While chaos is my method, I am its scion. Now I'm gonna go with this. I'm all in with this cryptid shit. I'm hooked.
Caught the bug, I see. It's easier to get caught up in the search than you'd imagine.
So where are these traps?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry.
So what do I do if there's a Phasmid in one of the traps?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
What if I encounter a Phasmid in the wild?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed. It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
Lay it on me. Lay it on me thick. He doses you with the odd-smelling spray, a double helping as you present your other armpit, gives you a satisfied nod.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
I'm ready. Let's get to it.
Right. Which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance. I was just thinking that about Kim. Like, he couldn't give a toss about any of this Phasmid shit, but he really does kind of want to get these guys home safe. Wants to send this guy home to his wife, so it's like, sure, I can run around and check some traps for you.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later, too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
Which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
How big is this Phasmid?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of Phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
What makes it so difficult to find?
good question. Being a Phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialized techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case.
What sorts of specialized techniques is the Phasmid using to hide itself?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defenses that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. Beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid. A ghost insect, he said? These people are looking for a ghost. No conceptualization, I think. No, you know what? That was a challenging conceptualization check. Let me see what he says to it. So you're ghost hunters?
No, that is precisely what we're not. We are zoological specialists, looking for an extant species of phasmid.
Alright.
Very little, I'm sorry to say. Not yet. I know by which... I have to... Parthenogenesis, meaning, yes, Insulindian phasmid.
I'll get going. Alright, so I have a new task to waste more time by puttering around and checking traps set for the Insulindian phasmid. There's one down here. Yep, here it is. There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like it's the same one you saw Morale set before. Same mesh, same wiring. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidentially. Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down. 3 to go.
It'll be in the next one, surely.
Surely. Anyway, the air is nice and fresh here.
Alright. That's plenty for now. Again, we accomplished almost nothing relevant to the case. I was just like, let me kill a little time before I walk over and talk to the Hardy Boys about all the murder stuff. 3 hours later, nope, no ghost stick insects in this trap. That's good. Maybe we needed a break from all the dreary shit. We'll get back there next time. Again, I think those guys stay up pretty late, so we'll still have time to get into that conversation. And, yeah, I should be clear to at least go back in that direction. Once I've checked all the traps, I think that's, like, top priority. But then we'll be able to go that way. I need to, like, remember that I need to buy the boombox. Bring Gart, the new bird. Tell Andre about Suna's thoughts on the nightclub. Alright, I guess that was the check that I hadn't done yet. Alright, well, I have that. Right, the signatures for Everett. I don't remember why we needed that, actually. To be honest with you. Maybe I'll refresh myself on that. Anyway, yeah, still lots of stuff to accomplish. Again, considering how little we actually accomplished here today, besides a lot of seemingly unrelated stuff. But anyway, there's a few more hours of Disco Elysium for you. I always really enjoy this game. Like I said, it kind of puts me in a good place. It's very chill in all the right ways. And also, can sometimes hits a little too close to home, but I love it for that too. Alright. That's enough out of me. What am I doing tomorrow? The back half of Donkey Kong Country 2, that's right. Alright. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Have a good one.